Okay, I'm Sean Smith, and I'm here in the wonderful Soho Cafe of Sacred with James Wallis.
Hello.
And we're going to try some mind reading. Now, I'm aware that this is inherently a visual thing that we're about to do, but largely, for those of you who are familiar with Ghostbusters, may be able to visualise the opening sequence with the symboled cards. So we've got 5 cards here. We have a circle, we have a cross made up of 2 lines, we have 3 wavy lines, we have a square, and we have a star. And these are the 5 symbols that he used 5 times over in the ESP or Xena deck. The very same ones that Bill Murray uses at the start to have his way with as many students as he can. What I'm going to ask you to do, James, is so we've mixed up the cards. I'm going to want you to pick on them. We'll take one out if you'd like to take one. Don't do it just yet. But what you're going to look at is you're going to look at it and you're going to then read me a word or read me a sentence.
Okay.
Now, I was speaking to you earlier about this. All of the symbols, although they were chosen based on like the clarity of their idea.
Yes.
So the circle is quite a visual thing, very visually different from the wavy lines, for instance, or even very different from the star.
Yes. It's also the number of lines. In
yes.
The circle has 1 line, plus is the cross is 2, the waves are 3, the square is 4, the star is 5.
It's a 5-pointed star rather than a 6-pointed star, definitely. Which then almost is the most pure, almost of mine. Half of the belief in psychic testing is the fact that if you can remove as much sense of identity behind something, then you can be more pure in the testing of something, which is relative nonsense. So we're going to add a little bit more interest in here. All of these different symbols can kind of represent different letters.
Yes.
So the circle, very, very similarly, looks like an O.
Yes.
The cross, 2 crossed lines, will look a little bit like a lowercase t. The 3 wavy lines, whilst turned on their side, look a bit like an M. The square looks like a sanded off capital D.
I'm nodding here, which I'm aware doesn't come over well on audio.
It's as best as we can manage, considering the budget. And then the 5-pointed star looks like a very excitable A. So that's what we're going to do. Which of course means that all of these letters can be combined into the world's most psychically charged word. The word which, if we imagine all of these symbols are being focused on by psychic testing, the most psychically charged word is doormat.
Doormat. I was wondering if it was adamant, but that's got no O in it.
My psychically charged performer in this case, but not so much the word. What I'm going to do is I'm going to want you to look at the symbol, and then to essentially to say any sentence. The sentence must contain the word doormat, and based on the words that you choose, I'm going to try to determine what you're thinking of. We're going to do this twice with just some random ones, and then you're going to mix them up again. You're going to go for which one you want to choose. And that can be either based on how well we've been doing so far, or if you want to make this harder. So we shall. Let's see. So if you want to pick your first one.
Okay.
Okay. Have a look at it, and then decide on a sentence.
A sentence involving the word doormat.
Yes.
The trouble is, being a writer, among other things, the moment you said sentences started flooding into my mind. Now I have to think of one that's kind of specific to this card.
Well, the interesting thing is you can find one and then choose to reject it or not. I find that's, especially for a writer, that's usually an easier thought process. So get rid of those that don't fit.
I've got one.
Okay, what is your sentence?
The only thing between him and outside was the doormat.
The only thing between him and outside was the doormat. Okay, it's a long sentence. It's nice. I do this a few times, and it's horrifically short.
I'll try and do.
No,
I'll try not. Okay, I'll try not to give
it makes
paragraphs.
it easier. Okay. But of course, so much of it, like in terms of you've got the narrative element that focuses on the threshold at the end. It's going to be one of the letters at either end. I reckon, because we're starting off at this point, it's probably going to be. So yeah, I'll go for this one. Okay, for those of you who can't see, which is pretty much everybody, I've made a decision. Which symbol were you holding?
I am holding the square, which is the card you've just produced.
Yes, and I also.
I'm trying to think of any physical cues I could have given you, or even verbal cues I could have given you, and I'm coming up completely blank.
Nicely, with a case of threshold, and it's kind of point right at the very start of the word.
Yeah,
and also, if anything, it's the weirdest one. Okay, actually, I'll collect them up because it might be that one again. Do you want to take the next one? Okay. And then again, settle on a sentence that you're happy with.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. What are you going to go for?
Sitting on the doormat was a cat.
Oh, okay. Sitting on the doormat was a cat. Very Dr. Seuss. Oh, this is ridiculously easy. You're guiding the way.
I think I might have guided the way on this one.
Okay, short phonemes in this case. What are you holding?
I'm holding the star.
You're holding the star, and of course I have gone for...
The star, yes.
Amazing. Do you want to mix them up again?
Okay.
And this time I'm going to want you to pick one based on choice.
Okay. I've been designing card games for the last 20 years, and I cannot shuffle a deck of cards to save my life. There we go. That'll do.
Half the reason why I invited you to do this one is because by designing games, you're designing ways in which you're expecting people to behave, and you're very akin to fit out into. If I create this sort of environment, people react in this sort of way. Yes. So it suits this nicely. So look through, find, and decide on one that you want to go for this time.
One of the ones we've done before, or does it not matter? Or not one of the ones we've done before, or just anything?
Whatever.
I would rather choose randomly, actually.
I will leave that open.
Grabbing one from the middle of the deck. Right.
Okay.
Another sentence.
Brilliant. Okay. And actually, you can even pop that one. Just pop it down, so there's no... I mean, you are wearing glasses, but it's a very dark environment, so I don't really think we can...
That had not occurred to me that you might be doing that. Okay. So it's flat on the table now. Even I can't see what that one is.
Okay.
Though I do remember.
That's hopefully quite useful.
Okay.
Okay. What's your sentence in this time?
The sentence is: the doormat took off and flew around the room.
Okay. The doormat took off and flew around the room. Okay. We've gone at random again for this one, so it's not going to be a case that you're going for a personal favourite. But of the one that people try and trip me up on, it's probably going to be the last. You're consciously trying to draw attention towards the vowels aspect of it. We've got lots of flew, room, quite long sounding phrases. The doormat comes at the start. Sorry, could you say the sentence again?
The doormat, I think it was, the doormat took off and flew around the room.
The doormat took off and flew around. Okay, so short O, long O. Room took, which of course means it's not going to be an O, but it will be a vowel. I think it's the star. It
is the star again, yes.
Fantastic.
Okay. I'm not freaked out yet, but I am mildly concerned. Okay.
Should we try one further?
One further, yes.
Tell you what I'll do, I will I should do this.
I'm cutting the deck, and I'm going to take the top card off the cut deck.
Okay. What would tip this over the edge?
I don't know. Oh, we've done 3 cards, but only 2 of the letters. It's just a repetition. I think you continuing to be right is what's worrying, because it's simple probability. There's a 1 in 5 of the first one, and then 1 in 25 of 2 in succession. We're now up to, was that 1 in 125?
I believe we are. This is why I tend to avoid maths too much.
Fair enough.
Too much. Right, let us try one more, but this time try it without saying a sentence, but decide which. I'm going to ask you 2 questions about the sentence, but yeah.
Okay.
So pick another one, again at random if you want to.
Okay.
Decide on a sentence. You're not going to say it out loud this time.
Right.
So if anything, this is the one that makes it very tricky.
Okay.
How many words are in this sentence?
6.
Okay, and which word which placement is doormat?
It's the first word.
You placed the doormat at the threshold again.
I have.
Thus brought it. I think you've gone a full circle with this one. Okay, I'm going to leave that on there. Which was it this time? This will be our last one.
It was the square.
It was the square. Threshold from the start. A nice little...
That's 4 for 4.
4 for 4. A final square and 4 squares in total. I think
4 squares, yes.
Amazing.
Wow. That, I'm genuinely... I was expecting sleight of hand. I was expecting a dexterity thing, but that's... it's a shame you mentioned reflections in my glasses, because that's the only way I can think of that you did that, unless we're talking about some serious... the fact that there are... Now I know, I have proof that there are people in the world who can do that kind of thing. That's kind of simultaneously interesting and worrying.
Fantastic.